How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us. I know you're on the way to Stockton for a tournament, so we appreciate you taking a few minutes.
Oh, yeah, no, it's fine. We're here right now, so I'm
okay.
chilling.
So how does it feel to be famous now that you're on the cover of Glory Days magazine?
It's kind of surreal right now. Like, it's different because a lot of people keep talking about it and stuff, but it's, yes, I told you I was on the radio. Yeah, it's a lot to take in at once, but I'm just, going with it.
Tell us a little bit about your career. I know we talked last week about coming in as a freshman, and you came into a pretty good team with players, such as Ashley Conover, Jenna Sayers, Jamie Hutter. So a pretty solid senior class there last year, and you came in as a 14-year-old freshman, and a little bit daunting at first, right?
Yeah, it was definitely scary. One of my main things was like having to tell these seniors like what to do and where to go, especially because Jamie and Ashley at one point during the season, they were on my defensive line. So trying to come in and just be like commanding as the job entails to these 18-year-olds, like it's a lot because I didn't want it to be like, well, you're just a freshman, so blah, 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 like, Right.
Was there ever a moment early on in the preseason or early in the season where you ever doubted yourself? I mean, that's kind of a lot to ask of a freshman to say, hey, come in to be our starting keeper and keep us in the game here every game.
Well, not necessarily, no. Like, I mean, I've always been used to pressure and stuff and, like, having to be able to command and be a leader for my teams and things. But I'm sorry, my friend is sitting here and she keeps making faces. I'm sorry. To be able to do that, like, I didn't necessarily doubt myself. I was unsure of how to do it, but I knew that I had to do it at the end of the day. So. Because
you grew up as a basketball player and really didn't start playing soccer until just a couple of years ago. How tough is it to learn the position of goalkeeper? There's, like you said, there's a lot of pressure on goalies, and there's a lot to learn that maybe the average fan might not know in terms of positioning, when to come off the line, when to stay on the line, all that kind of stuff. How much more comfortable do you feel coming into this year with all the things you've learned last year as being a starter on varsity?
It's, hey, hello, how are you? We're seeing a lot of old people, like old friends and stuff right now, so a lot happening at once. I'm sorry, I kind of missed the question.
Just how comfortable are you this year in all the things you've learned from last year? Obviously, there's a lot to learn as a starting goalkeeper, little intricacies about the position that you may not have known coming into last year, but you've gained experience last year through 15, 16 games. How much more comfortable do you feel this year?
I am a lot more confident than I was coming into this year than last year because, like I said, having to develop that leadership role and knowing that my teammates are behind me and in front of me and they'll listen to me when I ask them to do things and stuff. So it's a lot better. It feels much more. I'm about to get hit by a car. It feels much simpler this year, I guess you could say. Like, we have competition and it's a lot coming in. Because the league is definitely not going to be easy for us, but I think as a team we have a lot of potential and capability to do well and hopefully get that Cal title that I'm looking for. So,
talk about this team a little bit. I was talking to Coach Hearn last week, and he said there's a lot of chemistry on this team, a lot of good vibes, and players like Jenna and Ashley and Jamie sort of set the tone last year, and you guys are kind of following that up as a little bit of a younger core. What's the feeling like heading into this year? Obviously, you guys have some pretty good players remaining. Does it feel like there's a pretty good chemistry already? Yeah,
there's definitely a good chemistry because we're, for the most part, a pretty young team. We only have one returning senior, or like one returning varsity senior this year, and we have a lot of juniors. So most of us that are coming on varsity, we've already played together, and if we haven't played together in Oakcrest, we played together in middle school. So that chemistry is definitely there, and we kind of already know each other as people, and I think the main thing for us is to learn each other better as players and, learn your personnel. So we know how to work with each other, where to go, what to expect from each other's people, and I think we're going to do really well this year. And the fact that we have a lot of lasting players is a big thing for me. Like, because, a lot of teams, they're like, we're going to be big shots this year, but they have their whole team is seniors.
Uh-huh.
We have a team that's going to be here this year and next year, and probably even the year after that. So I'm very happy with us. There are little things that we have to work on, but we'll be fine. We'll work it out.
Now, I was talking to your mom, Veronica, and she was a little bit shocked that you came home in the spring and said you wanted to try the javelin. How did that all come about?
Well, the first time I kind of the first time I kind of saw what a javelin was when the freshman fair thing, like the activity fair, they have the freshmen come out and, sign up for things and all that other stuff. And Terrence was like, here, throw this thing, because he had a little, he had kind of like a big turbo jav.
Uh-huh.
So, it wasn't anything that could actually hurt somebody, but it had the same, idea of it. So he was like, here, I want you to try to throw this from here to over there. And it felt weird in my hand. I didn't know what to do with it. I kind of just chucked it once and ran away. and then he was like, you're going to be good. I want you to do that in the spring. But at that point in time, I was like, I'm going to do softball. So I don't know why you're trying to get me to do track and stuff.
Right.
But the way that the schedule worked out between spring soccer and the softball schedule and the track schedule, it was just better for me to do track. And I was like, maybe I could try out this jav thing again. And, we know what happens after that. So
now, Jason Hearn is the girls' soccer coach, but he's also the softball coach. How did he take the news that you weren't going to play softball?
He didn't take it very well because I feel bad, because I waited till the day before tryout to make my decision, because I was like, track would be better, but Hearn is the head of the softball team. And we had been talking about it the whole year. I was like, yeah, I'm going to come back and play softball. And all this stuff. It was a lot of expectations of that. And then to switch last minute, he was upset. He was definitely upset. But then,
did he make you run a few extra sprints in soccer as a punishment for not coming out for softball?
No, because by that point, when I had told him about, the school record and then how I won sectionals and states and all that other stuff, he was like, okay. He's like, I can let that one slide. But he still makes fun of me for it every once in a while. So.
Now, obviously, you're a heck of a student, 4.4 GPA. How difficult is that to be a student first and an athlete second when you are a three-sport athlete and that's, consumes so much of your time? How do you balance all that, and how do you get all that schoolwork done?
Well, school definitely comes first, and you talk to my mom, so you know how she is about, school and grades and homework and stuff. So if it's always been our kind of deal, I guess. If I don't do as well as I should be doing in school, I can't play sports. It's never been in that situation before because I've always wanted to play my sports and stuff. So I don't really stop to think about it. I just keep going with it. So
now,
instead of dwelling on it,
What would Mom's reaction be if you ever got a detention?
So.
Or can you not say that on the radio?
I don't know no. She'd definitely be disappointed. She'd talk about it for a very long time. She's like, I still can't believe you got that detention 3 years ago. She's that type of person.
Right.
But, I love her to death, so it's okay. She pushes me, and she's my biggest fan. So, I need her to keep me on the right track. So.
We're talking with Brielle Smith. He's a sophomore goalie, basketball player, and track star at Oakcrest High School. And Brielle, what's the mindset going into this year? You've gotten the freshman jitters out of the way in 3 different sports, and do you feel now like you belong on the varsity level?
Yes, I feel at home here, with my school, with my teammates, and all of my sports. I feel like this year is going to be. I don't want to jinx anything, but I feel like this year is going to be a big year.
So what are you looking for this year in the soccer season? Obviously, Oakcrest has some talent there, and you're hoping to compete for the Cape Atlantic League Championship. What's it going to take to put together the kind of season you guys are hoping for?
The attitude that we want to have. We need, we need to focus. No know our goals ahead of time. I think that's a really big thing, because sometimes when teams have a lot of talent and they don't know about it, it kind of ruins things. So we need to know what we want to get, and we need to know what we're looking for, and work on the little things like, like staying on your run and stuff, and talking in the communications and things like that. That's a big thing for us to keep working, just to fine tune stuff like that. But I think we'll be okay. We'll definitely be okay.
Real quick, Brielle, before we let you go, one thing I thought you said that was interesting when we talked last week was how proud you were to wear the Oakcrest name on your jersey. Talk about that a little bit. You had an opportunity to maybe go to a different school, whether it be ACIT or Cedar Creek. You're in that greater Egg Harbor district where you have some options, but you chose Oakcrest, and you're very proud to play for that school. Talk about the school pride in that school particularly. I know that a lot of the kids on those athletic teams really want to play for that school and are proud to wear the Falcon jersey.
Yeah, nobody's got school spirit like Oakcrest. I'm not trying to put anybody down, but I think we can all admit it. We definitely have some school pride. If you come to a football game, you see us Falcon flocking in the spirit section, we go nuts. So I loved that coming in and seeing how bonded, and it was such a family feel at Oakcrest. I think that was the main thing that pulled me in to finally decide I'm coming to the school, because it felt like everybody was together, and everybody will hold each other up instead of bringing each other down like it can be in high school. So
good stuff, Brielle. We appreciate you taking a few minutes. Good luck in your tournament today and the rest of the season.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, thanks. Have a good weekend. That was Brielle Smith, outstanding young sophomore at Oakcrest High School, 3-sport star. She plays soccer, basketball, and track.